Title 6, Section 6304, selling or providing alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years. RE, Anne Arundel County Police Report 21-708-860 by Detective Mountcastle 1155 and Detective Middleton numbers 1061, incident dated March 18, 2021. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please come forward. Okay, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me, Inspector?
Yes, I can.
Hi. My name is J.U., the attorney for the respondents. Here is Mr. Casaria and Ms. Zhang and Mr. Wu, all present in their store.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask them to keep their right hands up and take the oath. You solemnly declare that what you're about to say is the truth and nothing but the truth. And if so, please indicate by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please state your name and your addresses for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Arundel. My home address 1501 Limerick Court, Pasadena, Maryland 21122.
Thank you.
My name is Min Ching Zhang. My address is 85304 Small Road, Pasadena, Maryland 21122.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my name is Zhi Wu. My address is 223 Baishan Drive, Eastern Maryland 21601.
Okay, thank you. Detectives, would you please identify yourselves?
Okay, Detective Tom Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police, Western District, and
Detective Mountcastle, Anne Arundel County Police.
Okay, you can lower your hands. Thank you. Mr. Praley?
All right, thank you. Since this is a COVID-19 hearing, I'm going to ask Detective Middleton to read his report into the record.
Is it okay if I read the report?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Detective Mountcastle. I'll be reading the report. On 3/18/2021 at approximately 19:15 hours, Detective Middleton and I were working Operation SAVE, Selective Alcohol Violation Enforcement, conducting alcohol sales compliance checks of retail businesses. We directed a confidential source, 18 years of age, to enter the Arundel Liquors at 8534 Smallwood Road in Pasadena, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. We observed the confidential source enter the business. The confidential source went to the store and picked out an 18-pack of Bud Light beer and took it to the front counter. The confidential source was given official Anne Arundel County funds and was able to purchase the Bud Light beer from the clerk. The clerk did not ask the confidential source for identification. The confidential source exited the business and immediately turned over the alcoholic beverage to myself and Detective Middleton. I know through my training, knowledge, and experience that Bud Light beer is an alcoholic beverage. Detective Middleton and I entered the store, identified ourselves as police officers, and identified the clerk as Zai Wu, date of birth of 12/27/64 via his Maryland driver's license. Zai advised that he thought the CS looked old enough. A photograph was taken of Zai and his driver's license and are attached to this report. A photograph was taken of the Bud Light beer and then it was destroyed. A photograph is taken of the Anne Arundel County liquor license hanging on the wall behind the cashier area. Mr. Zai provided a copy of his TAM alcohol awareness training certificate that he received on May 9th, 2018. A photograph of the certificate and is attached to this report. And the report was forwarded to the liquor board, and he was very cooperative. Just if I could add that.
Thank you, Detective. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Counsel, do you have any questions for the detectives?
No questions. My client admits to the incident.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, any questions of either of the detectives?
I just, for both detectives, you generally are working the SAVE operation and have been doing that for quite a while, correct?
Yes.
And in addition to that, you conducted this in March 18th.
That's
And
correct.
I was curious, you've also been involved in the 2021, maybe not 2020, but 2018 and 19. Uh, Have you ever gone into this establishment in the past that you recall?
Yes, I can remember one violation several years ago at that location.
Can you remember a time when you went in and the confidential source did not come out with the what he was intended to buy?
Yes, it has passed compliance checks also,
Okay,
as well as the one failure that I can remember.
okay. Thank you. No other questions for the officers.
Commissioner Duffy, do you have any questions for either of the detectives?
No, sir. No
Commissioner-
questions.
Commissioner Snoops, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Well, Mr. Wu, at this time you can present your case by way of testimony or proffer combination thereof, but the floor is yours.
If I may proceed by way of proffer,
Yes, sir.
my client, Mr. Wu, he is not only an employee, but he's also he's a partner. He has an interest in the business, and he cannot believe he did this. He's very apologetic. He's apologetic to his partners, and especially Mr. Casaria, who told him to be careful and just check ID all the time. What happened on that day was that Mr. Wu obviously has extensive history of working in a liquor establishment. He had never had any violation. He's really very good at checking ID. On that day, he was not well. He had somewhat of a cold symptom, and he was kind of afraid that what he may have is COVID-19. On top of that, his son had got into an accident, and he is the policyholder on the car, and he was, making calls here and there and trying to make the claim and this and that. And he had a lot on his mind, and he just messed up. He didn't pay attention. He was working in a zombie mode in a sense. That's pretty much what happened. He explained. So he was on autopilot. He just wasn't thinking. So Mr. Wu is very apologetic for what he did, and he will make sure next time he's not well, next time something that is stressful happens, that he will make sure that he's not at the counter, and that someone else will be there. And also, if his employee is in the same predicament, that he will make sure that his employee is not serving the customers. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, any questions for counsel?
Just a comment. In the testimony of the officer, it says he thought the confidential source looked old enough. I guess my question would be, what have you done? I know he's had a bad day. I appreciate that, but what have you done in the future to avoid this happening again?
Mr. Wu and all the employees have to check the ID. There's no other way, especially with the masks on, with the customers walking in with full mask on, sometimes covering pretty much everything except their eyes. Right. I mean, unless you want to ask them to take off the mask, you have to check the ID. Mr. Wu knows about it. It's just that on that day, he was on autopilot. He wasn't thinking at all. He should not have been working that day. That was the bottom line.
Okay. All right, no other questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Duffy, any questions?
Yes, I do have one question. That's a follow-up to the chairman question in reference to being proactive in the future. Have you thinking of installing ID checks at the registry?
Yes, we have the machine.
You have them.
We do have the
It's him.
yes, we have it. Mr. Wu, he's the manager, so he pushed the bypass button. So that's what happened. He just was on autopilot, and he just even he messed up. So ID checking machine is only as good as if you ask for the ID.
If you use it, yes.
Right. So especially Mr. Wu being he's the manager. Yeah. So he's the person who should not have made a mistake. If it was one thing for the employee to make a mistake like that, but he's the manager and he's very aware of that, and he will not make the same mistake again.
Okay, I only asked because of the fact that you had a violation, a sting also in 2018.
Yes.
So I was looking at that as well as being proactive. And that's my only question.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Snoops, do you have any additional questions?
I have no additional questions, no.
All right. Council, anything else you'd like to add?
No, other than the fact that Mr. Wu had been in illegal business for the past 5 years on occasion, and he never had any violations under his name. It's the first time for him.
Thank you. Well, with that, we will declare the public testimony portion of this matter closed, and I'll turn it over to the board for deliberation and decision.
I'm just going to make a comment that it looked like there was a violation in 2018. There's been some issues. Anyway, I'll turn it, and if there's no additional comments or discussion, I'll turn it over to the commissioners. If anyone would have a recommendation or a proposal.
This is Commissioner Duffy. I would like to make a motion that we fine the individuals, the establishment, $500 per account. And this is the third violation, with the recent one being in 2018. And based upon the fact that they do have a scanner that's provided for ID check, and that they should utilize it, and that it would be appropriate to use it to avoid a sting of this nature. So my recommendation is that we charge them $500 per account. That'd be $1,000 plus hearing charges, costs. So here's $1,000 plus hearing costs.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second there?
I would second that.
Okay, it is second, and any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Next case. All right, next case is going to be Pfeiffer's Deli and Craft Beer House, known as Pfeiffer's Seafood, Inc. Catherine R. Pfeiffer, President. Christopher E. Pfeiffer, Vice President. Richard Eden Pfeiffer, Jr., Secretary. Colton Carr, Clerk. Detective Middleton, number 1061. Detective Mountcastle, number 1155. And the inspector for this establishment is Roland Marshall. This is a Class B license for beer, wine, and liquor, as well as growlers and Sunday permit. It's located at 8894 Fort Smallwood Road, Suite 4, Pasadena, 21122. First violation is a violation of the rules and regulations of the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 4, Section 4.01A, which is minors. Reference the Anne Arundel County Police Report 21-708861 by Detective Mountcastle, number 1155, and also Detective Middleton, number 1061. The incident was dated March 18th, 2021. Second violation of alcoholic beverage 1, Titles 1 through 12, Annotated Code of Maryland. Title 6, Section 6-304, selling or providing alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. Reference excuse me. Reference Anne Arundel County Police Report 21-708-861 by Detective Mountcastle, number 1155, and Detective Middleton, number 1061. Incident dated March 18th, 2021. This establishment does have a restriction, which was dated June 27th, 2002. It says all employees are to be certified within 30 days of on an annual basis thereafter. An educational course must be held for all employees. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please raise your right hand. Mr. Pfeiffer, if you're going to testify, sir, thank you. Okay, do you solemnly, thank you, Mr. Carr, do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. Would everyone please state your name and address for the record? Let's start with the detectives.
Detective Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police, assigned to the Western District.
Thank you.
Detective Mountcastle, Anne Arundel County Police.
Okay, Mr. Carr.
Colton Carr, 1008 Tuscany Lane, Severn, Maryland, 21144.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Richard Eden Pfeiffer Jr., 1110 Burke Road, Middle River, 21220.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Praley.
All right, thank you, Chief Inspector Harris. Detective, if you could read your report for the record, please.
Detective Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police. This was March 18th, 2021, approximately 7:51 p.m. Detective Mountcastle and myself are working Operation Save, conducting alcohol sales compliance checks of retail businesses in Anne Arundel County. We directed a confidential source, 18 years of age subject, to enter the Pfeiffer's Craft House located at 8894 4 Smallwood Road, Suite 5 in Pasadena, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. We observed the confidential source enter the business. The confidential source went into the store, picked out a 6-pack of Blue Moon beer, and took it to the front counter. The CS was given official Anne Arundel County funds and was able to purchase the Blue Moon beer from the clerk. The clerk did not ask the CS for any identification. The CS exited the business and immediately turned the alcoholic beverage over to us. Myself and Detective Mountcastle know through our training, knowledge, experience that Blue Moon beer is an alcoholic beverage. We entered the store, identified ourselves as police officers, and identified the clerk as Colton Carr, date of birth of 11/30/95, via his Illinois driver's license. He was cooperative and stated he did not ask the CS for identification. He advised that he's been working at Pfeiffer's as a part-time clerk for approximately 1 year. And he also stated he had not had any formal alcohol awareness training. A photograph was taken of Carr and his driver's license, and a photograph was taken of the Blue Moon beer, and a copy of this report was forwarded to the Anne Arundel County Liquor Board. That will be our statement of facts.
Thank you, Detective. Mr. Pfeiffer, as the licensee, you have the right to ask questions of the detectives. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, any questions for either of the detectives?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my earlier discussion with the detectives with regard to their sting and their history of stings in this area. Because we've had a couple here, 2018, 2019, and then just recently in 2021. I guess the question is, did you do a sting in 2020?
They probably passed 2020, sir.
Yeah, they probably had a pass.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Duffy, any questions of either the detectives?
No questions.
Commissioner Snoops, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Pfeiffer, you are now able to present your case. You can do so by way of questioning the clerk, or you could just proffer a combination of both, however you'd like to proceed with the court.
Yes. Thank you. How you doing, everybody? I would like to state that, I know we're guilty of, what Colton did, and by no means, you know, he shouldn't have done it. In last year, March, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and my world was flipped upside down. You know, I wasn't able to work basically anymore. You know, being in the business almost 6-7 days a week, you know, and then going to nothing, you know, it's a big change. That, you know, with the pandemic and COVID and everything going on, it's really hard to get a hold of, you know, employees. You know, that's been a really tough challenge, you know, and people like looking out for you and everything like that. It's just been very, very impossible. Colton, you know, he was a great employee. He's in the service. You know, I couldn't ask for a better employee. He made a mistake. He did get surgery a couple weeks. I found this out a couple weeks prior to this, and he was on medication that he's never took before. So, you know, we didn't know that until after, you know, he told me that. He was kind of loopy, you know, he said coming back to work. I wish he would have told me that. But, you know, I was at home, obviously, and he thought, I guess, he could able to work. Still, that's no excuse. I did reach out to my POS restaurant manager, trying to get the system. I do have about $50,000 worth of computers, so I can't just like rip all out my POS systems. So I'm working with them trying to come up with some card reader for my POS systems. So this won't happen in the future. Other than that, I mean, that's all I really have to say. You know, there's no excuse for it. And I am, you know, steadily going back to work, that I am there more and more. You know, I did have a very good diagnosis last week. And I have one more prior surgery coming up. Then hopefully, you know, I'll be back in full time. But still, you know, it's a tough world right there. And still, that's not an excuse for serving underage, but I am doing the best I can right now to help with that in the future. And, you know, and so it doesn't happen again. I've also been in business for 21 years and never had issues. I've had 3 violations in 21 years. Never issues at the bar. It just happened with them recently, and I don't know if that's got to do with, you know, trying to find good employees to stay, you know, with you. And, you know, that's basically all I have to say about it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer. I appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, do you have any questions of Mr. Pfeiffer or Mr. Carr?
I don't know, is Mr. Carr still working for you?
No.
He's not, okay. I'm glad that he came on, though, but he did indicate that he hadn't had any formal alcohol awareness training. And part of your restriction is that anybody that you do hire should have that training within 30 days. And
we did have somebody in the building with a couple people with the certificate in training. I thought that you only needed a certain amount of people in the building each time that is certified with TAMS, I think it's called.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. No other questions?
Commissioner Duffy, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Pfeiffer, you did indicate, yes, and I do have a question for Mr. Pfeiffer. You did indicate that in the last 3 years that you have had 3 violations dating back to 2019, 2018, 2019, and possibly you passed Operation Save in 2020, but you did have one in this year. So that's a combination of 3. And you still haven't purchased a scanner, an ID reader as of yet?
I did purchase one. It worked for about 30 days. That was last year. Then I got diagnosed with cancer. Then I kind of like, you know, lost my touch with that, you know. So I apologize for that, you know, when I was installing it, but it basically, I tried getting an aftermarket one, and it just didn't, best way, it didn't go with my POS systems. And that's what I'm trying to work with my POS system now, to come up with something that we can do that in check. So I'm pretty sure there is a way that we can do it.
I would hope so, because this is the third violation, within, amount of 2018, 4 years. So I do hope that we can come up with something to be proactive in reference to the sting operation. And I
Yes,
have.
we do have signs. We do have signs. I tell all my employees every day, even my manager tells them every day, card everybody. Doesn't matter if you look, 50 years old or 60, card everybody. And, we can tell it to them 100 times. Then
Yes, it's just
one time they're gonna, miss it.
Okay. All right, thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Snoops, any questions?
No, I have no other questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pfeiffer, anything else you'd like to add before I turn it over to the board?
Yes, every year we will we'll start another TAMS class, usually for new employees that started within the year. So we do like a TAMS class every year, for the employees.
Okay.
And I will schedule one of those.
And when is that going to be scheduled? Just roughly.
I'll schedule one this week.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer. With that, we'll declare the public testimony portion of this matter closed, and I will turn it over to the board for deliberation, discussion, and decision.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion in light of the past as well as the kind of the present, and fine Pfeiffer's $750 on the first count and $750 on the second count, plus court costs. Doing that because of the violations in the past, and this is very serious stuff. So that is my recommendation and my motion. Do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Duffy. I second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, the motion is carried.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone's excused. The next case will be Marketplace Wine and Spirits. We'll give them a second to attend. Okay, Mr. Dudnath, I assume you can hear me. I see your name up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. This is Marketplace Wine and Spirits, known as Marketplace LLC or Pasadena Marketplace LLC. Ranjit Dudnath, manager, member. Indra Ranabath, clerk. Detective Mountcastle, number 1155. Detectives Middleton, number 1061. And Inspector Frank J. Faulkner. This is a Class A with beer, wine, and liquor license, and also with Sunday privileges. Located at 354 Mountain Road, Suite 1, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122. The violations are: Violation 1, violation of the rules and regulations of the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 4, Section 4.01A, minors, reference Anne Arundel County Police Report 21-708-859 by Detective Mountcastle, number 1155, and Detective Middleton, number 1061. This incident is dated March 18th, 2021. Second violation is a violation of the Alcoholic Beverage Title 1, Titles 1 through 12, Annotated Code of Maryland. Title 6, Section 6-304, selling or providing alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years, in reference Anne Arundel County Police Report 21-708-859 by Detective Mountcastle 1155 and Detective Middleton number 1061. The incident dated March 18th, 2021. There is a restriction on this license that reads as follows. Was put in place May 1st of 2008. Hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. All employees must be certified in an alcoholic awareness program and a manager's agreement must be on file in the absence of the licensee at all times. Anyone wishing to testify, please raise your right hand. Mr. Debnath, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, I do.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record. I'll start with the detectives.
Detective Tom Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police Department, Western District.
Detective Mountcastle, Anne Arundel County Police Department.
Thank you. Mr. Debnath,
Yes.
state your name and address, please.
My name is Ranjit Debnath. My store address 354 Mountain Road, Suite I, Pasadena, Maryland 21122.
Thank you. Mr. Fraley?
All right, thank you, Chief Inspector Harris. Detective, if you wouldn't mind reading your report into the record, please.
Detective Mountcastle, Anne Arundel County Police. On 3/18/2021 at approximately 18:45 hours, Detective Middleton and I were working Operation SAVE, Selective Alcohol Violation Enforcement, conducting alcohol sales compliance checks at retail businesses. We directed a confidential source, 18 years of age, to enter the Pasadena Market Wine and Spirit Store located at 354 Mountain Road, Pasadena, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. We observed the confidential source enter the business. The confidential source went to the store and picked out an 18-pack of Bud Light beer and took it to the front counter. The confidential source was given official Anne Arundel County funds and was able to purchase the Bud Light beer from the clerk. The clerk did not ask the confidential source for identification. The confidential source exited the business and immediately turned over the alcoholic beverage to us. I know through my training, knowledge, and experience that Bud Light beer is an alcoholic beverage. Detective Middleton and I entered the store, identified ourselves as the police, and identified the clerk as, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this correctly, Andre Ranabat. It's Ranabhat. Date of birth of 3/22/89 via his Maryland driver's license. Mr. Indre advised that he forgot to card the confidential source, the subject that purchased the alcoholic beverage. A photo was taken of Mr. Indre and his driver's license and attached to this report. A photo was taken of the Bud Light beer and then it was destroyed. A photo was taken of the Anne Arundel County liquor license hanging on the wall behind the cashier, and a copy of the report was forwarded to the Anne Arundel County Liquor Board. That would be the end of the report.
Thank you, Detective. Mr. Debnath, as the licensee, you have the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have of the detective. Do you have any questions?
Sir, actually, he's my employee, and this is the first time he made a mistake.
Well, sir, you're going to have the opportunity to present your case. I'm just asking if you have any questions based on the report that was just read into the record.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. And like I said, you'll have the opportunity to present your case in a couple minutes. Mr. Chairman, do you have any questions of either of the detectives?
I have no questions, sorry.
Commissioner Duffy, any questions of the detectives?
No question.
Commissioner Snoops?
I have no questions.
Okay. All right, Mr. Debnath, now is your time where you can present your case. You can tell the board anything that you would like to say in mitigation of these charges. The floor is yours, sir.
Sir, Indra Ranabat, he's a good employee. This is my first time happen. And he take over, I go home around 6:30. Then after that, it happened. And honestly, his mom is sick. He's back home, heart attack. So the phone call coming from his country, and 10 minutes ago. You know, I don't like to happen to my store anything. I'm sorry, my speak English is not 100%. I'm so sorry for that. And he just called me around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I am made a mistake. This doesn't happen. Then happened, and his mom getting heart attack. He talking over the phone after 10 minutes is this happened. This is my explanation, sir. And this is my first time happened. I got it 2 times for Arundel County, this thing. And my 15 years business is a happen. So I hope it's not happen anymore. We are be careful with it. I'm so sorry for that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, do you have any questions of Mr. Debnett?
How long have you owned the marketplace?
I just like open, I think license is 2007.
2007, so 14, 15 years at this point?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
It's a shame that you had no violations prior to that.
No, sir.
And I think that was a great track record. Obviously, in testimony, he forgot to card the individual. I mean, the purpose of buying alcohol, as you know, is you have to be over 21. You can't have an employee that forgets to card somebody. So if you have a comment on that or how you're going to prevent this from happening in the future, I would be interested.
I have a system, sir. Whenever I scan the product, it's a check ID. I'm be careful with it, and I be more careful in future. No more happen like this.
Okay. I have no other questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Duffy, any questions of the licensee?
I just have one comment, and that is based upon the licensee having been open for 14, 15 years, and not to have any violation is deeply an achievement. And I do want to recognize your employee that's away with his mother. And it does show some responsibility on his part because he did send an email asking to be excused from the hearing. So that does show that he is very responsible in reference to his duties there. So I do want to comment you on that, as well as if you indicated that you do have a scanner. I just hope that in the future that you will utilize the scanner ID and emphasize to all employees that it's mandatory that you use the scanner ID because you do have it available for them to use. So again, I want to compliment you on your success of your business for 15 years, and very successful at that, and also the responsibility that your employees have taken to indicate to the board that he is responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Duffy. Commissioner Snoops, any questions of the licensee?
I have no questions.
Just one last question.
Yes, sir.
Please. It's one of the restrictions says all employees must be certified with alcohol awareness program. Is that, are all your employees?
Yes, sir.
Been done? Okay. And how many employees do you have?
He and my wife helped me, and I am working 7 days, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's why I'm not got good employee to hire. I'm working 7 days a week, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm very hard work. Still I'm looking for so many people coming is not like, responsible, I feel. So that's what I'm working hard. My wife with me, anything happen, call my wife and another.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, well, with that, we will declare the public testimony portion of the record closed, and I'll turn it over to the board for discussion, deliberation, and an ultimate decision.
Okay, I'm open for discussion here on a a fine. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of $250 for each infraction. Unfortunately, it's their first time, but again, this is pretty serious stuff. Any thoughts, anyone?
If we're talking about $250 per account for a combined violation of $500, then I concur.
Okay, I'll make a motion that unless you have, Bernie, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree 250 is plenty, since it's the first offense.
Okay, great. So the motion will read $250 for each account or count, a total of $500 plus court costs. Is there a second to that motion?
Mr. Commissioner Duffy, I second it.
Okay, the motion is second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Debnath, before you leave, sir, the board recognized you gave the business address when you gave your name and address. Could you give us your residence, the address, please?
Yes, sir. 914 Martha's Vineyard Lane, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Okay, thank you, sir. Everyone's excused. Officers, I believe that was your last case, correct?
Thank you. Officer.
Thank you, detectives.
Yep.
Okay, about ready to call the next case. The next case consists of 3 individual establishments, all known as the Green Turtle. One being the Green Turtle BWI. It is the Green Turtle BWI, which is LLC. Michael Kennan Wells, authorized person. Inspector Yvette Chang Fisher. There are no restrictions for that establishment. This is a change of offices. Currently, James R. Holdick, authorized member on behalf of the Green Turtle BWI, the LLC, including the Green Turtle BWI Thurgood Marshall, Concourse D, Unit D4, Baltimore, Maryland, 21240. They have a class SAC, which is a special airport concessionaire license. The second establishment is Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, known as GT Edgewater LLC. Michael Kennan Wells, authorized person. Inspector Mark A. Mucklebauer is the inspector. This is a change of officer also. Currently, James R. Baldick, authorized member on behalf of GT Edgewater LLC, trading as Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, 3213 A Solomon's Island Road, Edgewater, Maryland, 21037. They have a Class H license for beer, wine, and liquor with entertainment and Sunday license permit. There is a restriction on this establishment that reads as follows, and it was dated 7/14/2009. Closing hours will be 1 a.m. and that was on 7/14/09, and then on 9/13/2011, there was another restriction. It says all employees who handle alcoholic beverage must be certified with state-approved alcohol awareness training course within 90 days of hire. Number 2, to hire additional security as needed for special events. And number 3, all alcoholic beverages must be served in conjunction with a meal in the dining room. And number 4, 2 live musicians are allowed. However, no dancing will be permitted. Those are all the restrictions for Green Turtle located at Edgewater LLC. The third Green Turtle is known as GT Mills LLC. Michael Kennan Wells, authorized person, and Inspector Donald R. Morris. This is for a change of officer as well. It's currently James R. Baldick, authorized member on behalf of GT Mills LLC, trading as the Green Turtle, 7556 Tig Road in Hanover, Maryland, 21076. They have a Class H license for beer, wine, and liquor, music, and Sunday. There is a single restriction, which was dated 8/25/2009. It says must comply with the 51% food versus 49% alcohol ratio quarterly. Anyone wishing to testify, please raise your right hand. Okay. Mr. Are you going to testify, sir?
I'm not going to testify. Mike Proffer, if you would like me, I'll raise my right hand.
Well, if you're gonna proffer, yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right. Do you
Do that.
solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Wells, you there?
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Please state your
Okay.
name and address for the record, your residence address.
Go ahead, Mike.
Michael Kennan Wells, 304 Songwood Court, Millersville, Maryland, 21108.
To the extent that I'm proffering, I'm happy to I'll give my home address if you want it, but I assume you probably.
You don't, Mr. I apologize. I didn't realize you were the attorney.
Yes, that's quite all right.
And Mr. Mister, at this point, we'll allow you to go forward with your case. You can proceed by way of proffering, testimony, or a combination of both. It's pretty clear that you're going to proffer, which we appreciate. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Praley. Chairman Maloney, members of the board, David F. Mr. Winter, and Bartlett representing the applicants. I hope with subject to Mr. Praley's recommendation or permission that the board will consider these three applications together, since the applicant and the transferring licensee are all one and the same. If I may proffer, Mr. Wells is an officer of the Green Turtle Franchising Corporation, which happens to own and control each of these locations as a subsidiary. And we have, because of some changes in administration and management, we have been endeavoring for the last probably year and a half to make changes to their various licenses throughout the state of Maryland. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to represent them. And we've been doing these things in Baltimore County, Carroll County, Montgomery County, Howard County, and now Anne Arundel County, and also Wycomico County. So, Mr. Wells, would you tell the board what your position is with the Green Turtle Franchising Corporation?
Yes, sure. I work for the Green Turtle Franchising Company. I'm the director of franchise operations, where I help oversee and manage close to 30 franchise locations, where I help support their business and attributes. I've been working at the corporate headquarters in Columbia, Maryland for the last 12 years. Prior to that, I helped manage the Arundel Mills location. I was the general manager there when they first opened. And I've worked for the Green Turtle for now close to 19 years.
Okay. And the three locations that are the subject of the board's hearing tonight are all Green Franchising Corporation's corporate locations. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're the Anne Arundel County resident, besides having inline responsibility for these locations. Is that also correct?
That's correct.
Is it also correct that you all have continually had a policy that you will identify your patrons to be of the appropriate age to purchase alcoholic beverages? And I believe your bright line policy is anybody looks like they're under 40 years of age or younger, which means I'm probably excluded, that they will be carded and you will ask for the proper forms of identification before any of your servers will serve them. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. You also have a regular in-service training policy for your servers. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
All right. If I understand,
This is the name of the program.
I'm sorry, tell us again.
We use a company named TIPS that we use for employee training. And then we also have a online course that we have all team members complete within the first week that touches on alcohol awareness.
And you personally are a certified TIPS trainer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you actually train your own staff, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
All right. And if I understand, the company policy is that within 30 days of hire, any servers are required to complete an alcohol awareness training program. Is that correct?
Yep, upon the first 30 days, any front of the house, bartender, server, host, or manager is required by, and that's in person.
So that would be all servers plus managers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I understand, Mr. Wells, you have greater responsibilities, so you're not going to, can't be at all these three places on a regular, daily basis, even regular basis. Tell us about your line of responsibility management there at each of these restaurants.
Each location has a full-time general manager that, and also individual managers at each store. There's also a area director that oversees the locations, and then a VP of operations that helps support that as well.
Okay. And these people all report up the chain to you and other members of the management team. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I believe you also on a regular basis visit at least two of these locations on almost a weekly basis in Anne Arundel counties because you live there, correct?
Yep, live there. Hanover's closed and Edgewater's closed. BW makes it a little bit more difficult, but been escorted in there numerous times, obviously going through this whole process.
Okay. So these are existing licenses at all these locations, but just to I guess to summarize, if the board wants to know the exact number, et cetera, you will continue to have approximately the same number of service employees as exist under the existing licenses, as well as the normal hours of operation post-COVID that you've had for years. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Praley, I submit Mr. Wells to the board for questions, or to me.
Thank you, Mr. Mister. Chairman, do you have any questions of council or the applicant?
I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Duffy, any questions?
No, sir, I have no question.
Commissioner Snoops?
No, I have no questions.
The only final comment I would make to the board is I hope Mr. Aronson probably recovers from his Tommy John surgery, probably from his minor league baseball pitching career.
He was a great left-hander, let me tell you.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if there's no more comments, we'll declare the public record closed on this matter, and I'll turn it over to the board for consideration and deliberation on these three requests that were held contemporaneously.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the requests for all three locations, and I'll take a second.
This is Commissioner Duffy. I second the motion.
Second, okay, thank you. Any discussion further? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're excused. Okay, the next case is going to be two locations. This is Sonesta ES Suites in Baltimore BWI Airport, known as Sonesta MD Beverage LLC. Carlos R. Flores, authorized person. Mark D. Sherwin, authorized person. And Shanae Lakeisha Molden, authorized person. Inspector Yvette Chang Fisher. This is a transfer. Currently, Shelley Saunders, Assistant Secretary, Marjorie A. Brennan, Assistant Secretary, and Annette London, Assistant Secretary on behalf of RI BWI Airport LLC, trading as Residence Inn, Baltimore BWI Airport, located at 1160 Winterson Road, Linthicum, Maryland 21090. This is the Class B-LSH, which is a limited service hotel. It's a beer and wine license, and there is a restriction dated 3/12/2013 that says all front desk employees must be alcohol awareness certified. The second location is Anesta S Suites in Annapolis, known as Sonesta MD Beverage LLC. Carlos R. Flores, authorized person. Mark P. Sherwin, authorized person. Shanae Lakeisha Molden, authorized person. The inspector there is Alan Levy. Transfer currently Shelley Saunders, Assistant Secretary, Marjorie A. Brennerman, Assistant Secretary, and Levon Jones Molden, Assistant Secretary on behalf of RI DWI Airport LLC, trading as residents in Marriott at 170 Admiral Cochran Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. This is a Class B-LSH limited service hotel. Beer and wine license, and there is a restriction also dated 3/12/13. All front desk employees must be alcohol awareness certified. Anyone wishing to testify for or again, please raise your right hand. Mr. Sherwin, if you'll raise, thank you, sir. Okay, do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay.
Do.
All right, please state your name and residence address for us.
I'll go first. Mark Sherwin, home address 10696 Oakton Ridge Court, Oakton, Virginia, 22124.
Thank you. Next.
Carlos Flores. My home address is 79 Montgomery Street, number 1, Boston, Massachusetts, 02116.
Thank you.
Renee Molden, 375 Constitution Court, that's in Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21061.
Okay. Thank you all. Okay.
Dr. Harris, do we have one other person on here? I see a W. Gillings.
Yes, we do. She was part of the consulting firm. She's actually called in. Are you there, Mrs. Gillings?
Are there two W. Gillings?
Yeah.
Molden's title says Whitney Gillings, but I see another box that says W.
Right.
And Miss Gillings was the person who submitted the applicant, so it was.
Yeah, all the licensees are in here. The 3 licensees are in.
Miss Molden's title is, our name is showing Whitney Gillings.
Right.
Are you in her office?
No, I'm here at my own office. She sent me this link. Should I?
No, it's quite all right. All the licensees are here, so we're set to proceed. I would turn it over to Ms. Molden, Mr. Flores, or Mr. Sherwin, whoever's going to present the case today. You can present your case by way of testimony, proffer, or a combination of both. I'll turn the floor over to you. The only reason I ask is Ms. Gillings had submitted the packet with the cover letter. So if one of you wants to present the case in lieu of Ms. Gillings, that's absolutely fine.
We're actually counting on her for this part of the.
Sure.
I can see if we can get somebody to assist or.
Yeah. I just re-entered her into the room, so let's see if maybe this will help.
Works.
But she did call in, so we wouldn't see any video. Mrs. Gillings, can you hear us?
Looks like she's still on mute.
Yeah, I'm sending her a message to unmute. If you want to pause for a couple minutes, we can go ahead and give her a call.
That's fine.
Like that?
Is that okay with you, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Let me give her a call.
Thank you.
Had someone in our office reach out to council as well. My apologies.
She said for the link, everybody is supposed to.
It looks like Miss Whitney is in the chat box. She said she's able to hear, but she can't unmute herself.
Right, I see that. I see that. That is above my pay grade to figure that out. I don't have the.
All right, I have now made her co-host to see if that would work because on our end, everything was working. I'm not showing her just being muted. Yeah, on our end, it's working. Ms. Gillians, maybe you want to sign out and sign back in?
And Eddie, she's on her phone, right?
Yeah. And I've given her all the authorities to communicate.
And while you was away, she did indicate that she was on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Comment in the chat room.
Right, at this point, I've made her a co-host, so she shouldn't have any problem getting in.
Well, in the meantime, help me here because Whitney Gillings, I see in the picture, you're involved with the cover letter and everything? And then we're waiting for who?
Waiting for Miss Gillings. So this is actually Miss Molden, who has Miss Gillings. Title.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we're waiting for Miss Gillings who submitted the application with the cover letter.
Okay.
I think the problem is that she sent the link to Ms. Molden, and somehow that's not allowing her to join as well.
Oh.
Ms. Gillings, if you can hear me, what you might want to try and do is just get out of the system, go to my email, and I've invited you again. If you can go ahead and register and see if that will work.
And Mr. Sherman, I see your question about whether this portion of the hearing can be done by chat. Unfortunately, it can't because we need to have a record and a transcript.
Understood.
Okay, I've done everything I can do on my end here.
The only other thing that we could try to do is we could call the next case in lieu of this one and see if they can work out their technology issues and then come back to them at the end, if that's okay with Mr. Chairman and the other commissioners.
Yeah, if there's no other remedy here, I would,
Wait a minute, it looks like she's connecting the
Oh, yeah,
audio.
connecting.
Hey, all right. We're gonna go ahead with the next case then, Mr. Preble.
just 1 minute, Wayne.
Yeah,
Oh,
hold on
okay.
1 second. Mr. Harris, it looks like she's connecting the audio here.
Like one of those TV shows or commercials, Anticipation, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I would suggest we move on and she can try, like I said, the best thing to do would exit the software and then check your email because I just sent you another invitation and we'll try again.
Okay, then everyone's excused for this case for now, and we'll bring in the rumor reel. Janet, if you would. Okay, our next case will be the rumor reel, known as Botkin Creek Foods LLC. Terry Casalino, managing member, Inspector Roland Marshall. This is a new license. The location is 1701 Poplar Ridge Road, Pasadena, Maryland 21122. This is a Class D license for beer, wine, and liquor, entertainment and Sunday license with outdoor dining. We have Mr. and Mrs. Casalino on. Anybody else wishing to testify for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, would you please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and your residential addresses for us, please.
Terry Casalino, 8295 Windermere Drive, Pasadena, Maryland 21122.
Thank you.
Carl Castellino, 8295 Windermere Drive, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fraley?
All right, thank you, Chief Inspector Harris. Mr. and Ms. Castellino, thank you so much for appearing before the board tonight. This is your opportunity to present your case to the board. You can do so by way of testimony, proffer, some sort of a combination of both, but the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. We started in this business here in Pasadena. In 2018, we opened a restaurant called the Rumor Meal. We've been owner-operator family, along with the Winterbottom family, for 3 years now. And about a year and a half ago, we had an opportunity to look at the Cheshire Crab, which is the establishment that we're trying to get this license for, at the end of 2019. Once COVID hit, the deal kind of went south and we stopped any kind of negotiations. But then once some of the restrictions we were starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, we entered back into negotiations with Suntech Marina, who's the landlord of this establishment, and worked out an agreement with them. And basically we feel that this will be a great second location to complement the Pasadena community. And we're excited because it's also on the waterfront and it's a beautiful, beautiful area to do business. I think our reputation as restaurant owners and basically what we've shown in the Pasadena community is that we live and we work in this community. We've raised 3 children in Pasadena. My wife and I and our family have lived here for 20 years. We got the Rumor Meal for the very reason that we wanted to basically have a restaurant in the community that we live in. We do a tremendous amount of give back to the community. We're very involved with the churches, the schools, all kinds of private organizations as well. We do a lot of fundraising, and we've become pretty much a pillar in the community. This restaurant is geographically located really perfectly from where the Rumor Meal is. It's on the other, it's only about 1.5 miles as the crow flies, but it's about a 10-mile or about a 20-minute ride if you know anything about Mountain Road and how hard it is to get up and down. And then Fort Smallwood, we're right on the other side of the Pasadena community. So it's a great pickup where we leave off for the Rumor Meal. Our goal here is to be a seafood restaurant with some of our signature items that also sells alcohol and beer. We have never been a bar that sells food. We focus and we concentrate on our menu. We concentrate on having delicious food for the community, and we're very, very much family oriented. This establishment, the plan for that is exactly that. We do want to have alcohol and we do want to have entertainment for the simple reason that it's a resort area. People come by boat, people come from all over the Chesapeake Bay. When it was a restaurant previous, many years ago, this was a destination point for a lot of people that like to boat on the bay. So we want to kind of bring that spirit back. We also want to be able to service the other side of the Pasadena community, get involved with Northeast High School, get involved with Fort Smallwood Elementary. There's other, and there's several churches in the area that we also want to be able to do the community give back that we were able to do on the other side of Pasadena. So all in all, this is a very, very good situation for not only for our family, but also for the community. And we believe that we can do a great job serving the community.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Castellino. Ms. Castellino, do you have anything to add to the testimony?
No, he said it basically everything. We're just a family-oriented business, and we're very much looking forward to opening up a restaurant on this side of Pasadena so we can service more of the Pasadena community.
So I would like to add one thing, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Both my wife and I met in the restaurant business 27 years ago. We were in the fast food business. I've run restaurants from fine dining to fast food my entire life, 37 years in my working life, I should say. My wife, Terry, as well, she's been everything from a general manager to a training manager to a corporate recruiter, all in the restaurant business through the Taco Bell. That was the franchises that we had prior to this. I am also an instructor for alcohol awareness. I certify all my employees. We plan on following the same rules that we follow at our restaurant. I'm very proud to say we don't have any violations. We haven't had any violations through COVID. We run a very, very tight operation, and I'm very proud of that. And that's because we're very hands-on, along with my 3 boys who are also growing up in the business. The Winterbottom family as well. Their 2 children work in our business as well, and Kim and Rich are also very involved. So we're basically, almost 10 people strong, really keeping an eye on 2 locations without even getting outside of our family. So we think we can do a great job, and we're very excited about the opportunity.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Maloney, do you have any questions of Mr. and Ms. Castellino?
Just a couple comments. So you do take your work home with you, huh? Is that right? The whole family at Thanksgiving, or
Yes.
whatever.
We live together, work together. It's all fun.
I commend you for what you're doing in that business. You have a great restaurant already, and now you're going to go into your second location. And I know the hard work that goes into making that happen, and I wish you a lot of luck. I was just curious how long that restaurant that you're currently in the Rumor Reel.
The Rumor Reel is the new one. Yes, we're in it now.
You're in it now.
Yes.
Nice, looks nice inside. How long has that been a non-restaurant? Or
they closed in December of 2019. I'm sorry, 2018.
18. Okay.
Yeah, we were I'll make sure I'm getting these dates right. I'm sorry, 2019. And we entered into negotiations in January of 2020, and then COVID hit in March, and we never really got any further than that.
Okay, great. I think, as I remember, it's a great location, and I wish you all success, and I'm glad that you're on top of the alcohol awareness issue and that you do your own training. So hopefully this is going to be the last time you'll see us as a board. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have no other questions.
Commissioner Duffy, any questions?
No, like the commissioner, the chairman, I just want to comment on the 27 years of unity in working together, staying together, and being together. And I love the idea of you giving back to the community. That's very important, that if you live in a community that you do contribute back and give to the community in reference to the churches and the other organizations within the community. I love that. And again, I compliment you on being tip trainer and your sons involved in the hospitality field as well. So again, thank you very much for your giving back and being one that is family owned and emphasizing the importance of giving to your sons as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Commissioner Snoops, any questions?
I have no questions. I would just echo the same comments. I'm familiar with the rumor mill, and I think the rumor mill will be a definite asset to that location.
Thank you. There's nothing further to add or no other questions from any of the commissioners. I will turn it over to the board for decision and deliberation, any discussion that may be there.
Well, when are you planning to open? Do you have a date?
We have a health department inspection on Monday, the 21st.
Okay.
Assuming that goes well, we would like to get open possibly within 5 days after that.
Beautiful. Okay. No other questions, but I would like to make a motion at this point to approve the license for the rumor reel, and would be entertaining a second.
This is Commissioner Duffy. I second the motion.
Second the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, one last question on the reel. Where did you come up with that rumor reel?
It's so simple. It rhymed with meal and it rhymed with rumor.
Perfect. I've just been to Sesame Street.
But remember, it's R-E-E-L.
Whitney, are you showing that you're logged in? Oh.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Castellino. You're dismissed for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we gonna go to the second alarm, Eddie, or?
All right, I believe we might have it fixed. I'm gonna pull her into the room to see if that will work.
Okay.
If you can indulge us for a minute here. All right, let's.
Jimmy, while Eddie's doing that, do I need to reread everything or are we okay picking
No,
up?
we're okay. It's already on the record. We can just say that we're going back to the case, recalling it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there's one. Okay, so that's Miss Molden. Miss Gillian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can't hear you.
Barely.
Yeah.
If you want, I can keep her on my phone and we can just do like a conference. Is that acceptable with the attorney and the chairman?
Yeah, it would be acceptable to me if we get all the information and dialogue.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what we need.
Okay. All right, so Whitney, we're gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay, I'll try to speak loudly.
Can everybody hear her?
I can hear her.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we still missing one in?
Yeah, give me a minute to pull the other licensees in. We have Ms. Mullen, we need Mark. And Carlos.
Okay.
Okay, I believe we are ready.
I believe still have to swear everyone in. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
we can
Mull-
swear everybody in again.
Okay, would you please raise your right hands? Whitney, I'm assuming your hands raised. With that being said, do you solemnly declare and affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please answer so we can hear you, Ms. Whitney. Gillen.
Whitney, go ahead.
Okay, yes, my name is Whitney Gilling. First, I want to apologize to everyone for the technical issues. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I guess I didn't realize that there was an individual ID passcode for everyone, and trying to make sure that Shanae had all the details yesterday so that she could be here, since she really is our most important applicant, since she is our resident of Anne Arundel County. So that being said, if there are any questions for me off the bat, or I can go ahead with my testimony of my applicant.
Ms. Gillings, if you don't mind putting your address, your name and address on the record. I don't think we got that previously, and I jump on your toes here, Chief Inspector Harris, but if we could just put that on the record before you begin your proffer.
Yes, my name is Whitney Gillings, 2829 Kingsgate Drive, Carrollton, Texas, 75006.
Okay, and I believe we have everybody's name and address from when they were previously sworn in. So, Ms. Gillings, this is your opportunity to present your case by way of testimony, proffer, or combination of both, and I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent. I work with Bluebonnet Consulting. We are working with Sonesta International Hotels Corporation to prepare the transfer of the liquor license. Sonesta has taken over management of this hotel from Marriott, and we are transferring those licenses accordingly from Marriott to Sonesta, with Mark Sherwin, Carlos Flores, and Shanae Molden as our applicants on behalf of our applicant entity, Sonesta MD Beverage LLC, which is a subsidiary of Sonesta International Hotels Corporation. That being said, I will begin with Shanae Molden. Can you please confirm that none of your personal information contained in the application has changed since the time the applications were signed?
Yes, I can.
Can you confirm you have no felony convictions?
None at all.
Can you confirm that you have no violations of alcoholic beverage laws or gambling laws?
No, I do not.
Can you confirm that you are an authorized person for Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Yes, I am.
And can you confirm that you are a 1% owner of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Yes, I am.
Can you please describe your roles and responsibilities for Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Yes, I am.
Sonesta International Hotels Corporation.
Yes, I am the general manager. I oversee the daily operation of the hotel, including staffing and management and revenue for the building.
And we are actually talking about two applications here. So you oversee the operations at which hotel specifically?
Specifically, BWI Sonesta ES.
And you understand that you will have a supervisory role for the Annapolis location as it pertains to alcohol service?
Yes, I do.
Can you confirm for the board that the operations at these hotels will not be changing as a result of the license transfer?
Yes, I can.
And are you familiar with the rules and regulations of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County?
Yes, I am.
And do you understand that as a license holder, you must answer to the liquor board for any violations that may occur at the licensed establishment?
Yes, I am.
And you agree to accept these responsibilities?
Yes, I do.
And those are all my questions for Shanae, unless the chairman or commissioners, if you have any questions for Ms. Molden.
No, I have no questions. This is Chairman speaking. Otis, you're on mute.
Excellent. We'll move on to Mr. Sherwin next then. Mr. Sherwin, can you please confirm that none of your personal information contained in the applications has changed since they were signed?
Confirmed.
Can you please confirm you have no felony convictions?
Confirmed.
Can you please confirm you have no violations of alcoholic beverage laws or gambling laws?
Confirmed.
Please confirm that you are an authorized person for Sonesta MD Beverage LLC.
Correct.
And you are also a 2% owner of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC.
Correct.
Can you please describe your roles and responsibilities for Sonesta International Hotels Corporation as the parent company of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Yes, I'm the Executive Vice President of Operations and have responsibility for all our operating hotels.
And can you confirm for the board that operations at these hotels will not be changing as a result of this license transfer?
That is correct.
Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County?
Yes, I have read through them.
And do you understand that as a license holder, you must answer to the liquor board for any violations that may occur at these establishments?
Yes, I do.
And you agree to accept these responsibilities?
I do.
And those are all my questions for Mr. Sherwin. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I just have one question for Mr. Sherwin. How many facilities are you managing?
We have 266 managed hotels in the United States.
Okay, and all of those are falling under your management?
That is correct. That is correct. I have a lot of help.
I'm sure. You're gonna absolutely need it. Okay, 200, how many?
266.
66, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
This is Commissioner Duffy. I have no questions.
Commissioner Snoops, I have no questions.
Very good. Mr. Flores, you are up next. Can you please confirm that none of your personal information contained in the applications has changed since they were signed?
That's correct.
Can you confirm you have no felony convictions?
That's correct.
And no violations of alcoholic beverage laws or gambling laws?
That's correct.
Can you confirm that you are an authorized person of each of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Yes, I am. That's correct.
And you are also a 2% owner of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
Correct, I am.
Can you please describe your role and responsibilities for Sonesta International Hotels Corporation, the parent entity of Sonesta MD Beverage LLC?
I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer for Sonesta International Hotels Corporation.
And can you please confirm to the board that the operation at these hotels will not be changing as a result of the license transfers?
That is correct.
Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County?
I am. I have reviewed the.
And do you understand that as a license holder, you must answer to the liquor board for any violations that may occur at the licensed establishment? And do you agree to accept these responsibilities?
I understand and accept.
Very good. I have no further questions. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Flores?
No questions. This is the chairman.
No question. This is Commissioner Duffy.
Commissioner Snoops, no questions.
All right. Well, that was now after the technological difficulties. Ms. Gillings, do you have anything else to add before I turn it over to the board for deliberation, consideration, and an ultimate decision?
No, I think at the end of the day, this is a very straightforward transfer of these licenses.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And with that, we have public record closed with this matter, and I will turn it over to the board for discussion and deliberation.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the transfer of these facilities, and looking for a second.
Mr. Commissioner Duffy, I second the motion.
Second the motion. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion is carried, and congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
My apologies.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your patience.
You're all excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to be calling the next case, which is Second Alarm Brew House. Okay, Ms. Gilliams, okay. All right, the next case is Second Alarm Brew House, known as Second Alarm Brew House, Inc. Dwayne McKee, President, Justin Colt, Committee Chair, and B. Williamson, Secretary, Inspector Roland Marshall. This is a new license. Location is 8510 Fort Smallwood Road in Pasadena, Maryland, 21122. It's a Class C license, beer, wine, and liquor, and Sunday license. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please come forward, raise your right hand. Okay, Mr. Gardner, if you have video, we would prefer to see that as well.
Yes, I was trying to.
There he is. Okay, there you go. You got it. Okay, if you would unmute, I'm going to read the oath. Keep your right hands raised, sir. Thank you. All right. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, please state your name and addresses. I'll start with Ms. Williamson.
My name is Bridie Williamson. I live at 1035 Ash Street in Davidsonville, Maryland, and my zip code is 21035.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner, if you would.
Yes. Good evening. My name is John Gardner. My address is 7433 Baltimore Annapolis Boulevard, Glenbury, Maryland, 21061. I'm counsel for the applicant, Second Alarm Brew House.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Gardner, we're getting a little bit of feedback from you.
Yeah, I do have Mr. McKee and Mr. Call in a separate laptop. Perhaps I'll shut that down.
Yeah, either that or close the doors, because that's where we're getting the feedback from, is the echo.
Okay, why don't we shut yours? Why don't we shut yours down? I'm gonna have them. Why don't we shut yours down? I'm gonna have them gather around my laptop with the permission. Sorry.
But all right.
Okay, I still need those gentlemen to identify themselves when they're ready.
Justin Call. My address is 7869 Kings Arm Court, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Thank you. The other gentleman?
Wayne McKee, 11 Dorothy Meeks Lane, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fraley.
All right, thank you, Chief Inspector Harris. Mr. Gardner, the floor is going to be yours now. You have the opportunity to present your applicant's case by way of proffer, testimony, or a combination of both, however you choose.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Fraley and members of the board. By way of proffer, I would submit Second Alarm Brew House is an applicant before this board that's really born out of its caring for enhancing the awareness of volunteer firefighters, trying to recruit more volunteer firefighters members. And the application for this license is really born out of that purpose. It originally began operation out of a food truck, and then in 2020 at the same location as it would be under this license. In 2020, a coffee shop was established. All three applicants, Mr. McKee, Mr. Kaltz, and Ms. Williamson, have a long history of volunteer firefightership. Both Mr. Kaltz and Mr. McKee, since they were teenagers. Ms. Williamson's father was very active in the Davidsonville and Crawford firehouses as a volunteer firefighter, and Ms. Williamson herself served in that capacity while she was at Anne Arundel Community College before going to Salisbury University. So their whole concern and reason for applying for this license is to enhance the awareness and to try and build the recruiting, because it's their firm belief that the level of volunteer firefighters has diminished in recent years. And so that's by way of introduction to each one of the applicants. Next, I had submitted an exhibit list, which I assume every one of Mr. Praley and the board has in front of it, that lists all the documents that we are submitting, and I am offering or requesting that it be admitted into record. Each one of these documents was previously submitted either as part of the original application in January of this year, or the amended application adding Ms. Williams in May of this year. I guess before I proceed any further, I would ask that they all be admitted.
All of all of the exhibits and application materials that have been submitted will be part of the official record.
All right, very well. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Praley. As I said, second alarm, what I'd like to do is read just a paragraph that is out of my March 25th, 2021 letter. The board should have a copy of it, and it's part of the record as exhibit 16, I think it is. Yes, exhibit 16, which really states what second alarm, what its objective is to use the additional revenue from the fire service recruiters on a countywide basis and increase community awareness of the volunteer firefighters. They see this as the firefighters and their very firehouses, the fulcrum event needs given the is a means.
Mr. Gardner, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but we're losing you. We're starting to see a stop and freeze, and then we're not hearing any of the audio.
How would you like to proceed? Should we try the other computer?
If you think
the other laptop,
better, a stronger Wi-Fi signal, we could try that. Or there's also a call-in number that I think Mr. Aronson provided in his email.
Yeah, it's definitely a Wi-Fi issue. If you want to try the laptop to see if you have a better connection.
we're going to try the other laptop.
Okay.
Just on a side note, Exhibit 16, I don't seem to have that.
That was.
Unless it's.
That was submitted to the board.
Okay.
I sent a copy on March 25th, 2021 to the board's offices when I sent the response to the Office of Planning and Zoning.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to mute mine and switch.
Okay. All right. See if we can hear him. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Great. Is it any better?
Go ahead.
All right. I apologize for those technological difficulties, but on Exhibit 16, I was just referring back to that letter as what really describes better than anything else what the objective and the purpose of this applicant is, and I don't know how much of what you heard before. So what I'll do is quote that paragraph that I referred to before. Second alarm brew house intends to apply the additional revenue generated from the additional portion of the business to pay for the full-time volunteer fire services recruiters, to recruit more volunteer firefighters on a county-wide basis. And in conjunction with doing so, the recruiters would work to increase community awareness of the volunteer firefighters as a fulcrum of any given local community activity. Second Alarm desires to do so because it believes that community awareness of volunteer firefighting has significantly decreased, and its objective is to try and reverse that trend because of the community involvement and the contribution to the community that volunteer firefighters offer. And so that's the core purpose of why Second Alarm Brewhouse is applying for this license. And I would submit with that and see if Mr. Praley or the board has any questions of either Ms. Williamson or Mr. McKee or Mr. Calls.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gardner, I appreciate it. Mr. Maloney, do you have any questions for the applicants for council?
I do. And I've got a couple questions anyway. Second Alarm currently has a coffee house, as I understand it, and it operates
That's correct.
6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it's open to the public, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then you're planning to take a break and then reopen at 3 o'clock and go till 2 a.m. and you'll be serving members beer and wine. So that is totally not
that is the
okay. So there's no public involved with that, as I understand it, correct?
That is correct. There is a, I think I'll ask Mr. McKee to reference a technological device that he has, which locks the doors at 2 p.m. and controls the access after that. Mr. McKee, would you testify as to that issue?
I do testify to that. The doors lock at 2 p.m. and they don't unlock until 6 a.m. the next day. Members only can get cards that unlock that door. That's the only way they can get in, other than access to the bartender.
Okay. And what is this device called?
It's in, I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's on most government buildings. I can get
All right.
more information.
All right. Does that answer
basically
your question, Mr. Chairman?
It does. The couple of questions as I go through the packet, and again, it wasn't arranged with a number for each document, but I noticed that in here is your lease currently. In addition to that, you've got some affidavits evidencing membership and operation. You've got maybe 15 to 24 members that have signed up, I guess is what you'd call it. So it's $5 for a membership, and that covers it for a year. And you are actually letting members in that are under 21. How are you going to address those members that come between the hours of 3 p.m. and 2 a.m.?
We card everybody.
Okay. So those people they're welcome to come in. And then other than alcoholic beverages, you'll have other beverages on top of that?
That's correct. Our full coffee menu will be available with
Okay.
breakfast sandwiches. Breakfast sandwiches. Breakfast sandwiches. Breakfast sandwiches.
Gotcha. And I'm just going down the and going down the and going down the and going down the and going down the I don't know who. I don't know who. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Point. Excuse me a minute. Yeah, I can't. Sorry.
Just trying to call it.
Do you know sign language? Okay. Eddie, oh, there. Okay.
All right, I got
so
rid of that.
So you've got that under control. How about alcohol awareness training? Is that?
We have submitted the certificates, but in addition to the certificates that are already in the packet as, well, they were submitted with the packet that we sent to the board on June 4th. But in addition to that, there's 5 employees, all 3 of these applicants, plus 2 others, took another alcohol awareness class that was recommended by a member of the board. They took the class last week, took the exam, and the exam results are now pending as we speak. We got a message today from the exam administrator that the results might be issued within a day or 2. It was my opinion when we submitted the original certificates that they might not be considered adequate. And I had recommended to the applicants and any employee that would be serving alcohol that we have all of them take a new class and take the exam, and all of them get recertified for the ensuing 4 years under the regs.
Okay. Great. Thank you. In addition to that, membership is given to all volunteer firefighters in Anne Arundel County. And you're assuming that's going to be somewhere around 700 individuals. So they're all members?
That's correct. They still have to go through the membership process.
Okay. Okay, so they've got to sign up. They're kind of honorary members and they've got to sign up and pay
And
$5.
show credentials and such.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the first door they have to go through is the fact that they're a volunteer firefighter in the first place.
Gotcha. But you're letting in other people to join, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Also, I'm curious, who is going to be managing, on-premise managing? How's this going to work?
It would be me until we develop a pub manager.
Okay. Alrighty. And just some other, just brief questions here. I noticed there was in the packet a minutes of a meeting. And somebody mentioned, bear with me here. Maybe not.
There are 2 sets of minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, the one basically said the liquor license application has been submitted, but we're expecting a long road with it. I was just curious what you thought, where that was coming from.
I think they took it seriously, Mr. Chairman.
You did not take it seriously?
Or did take it seriously.
Okay. Okay, and the other one was about your landlord was bullying you. And I guess hopefully you got that squared away. But anyway, I read the minutes, I read the packet, and I don't have any additional questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Duffy, do you have any questions of council or the applicants?
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
what is the minimum age of the volunteer that can be members of the club? Is there an age, a minimum age for volunteer firefighters?
There is a minimum age for volunteer firefighters in Anne Arundel County, and that is the age of 16.
16? And you will provide some form of ID, checking IDs for these individuals that will be entering the establishment?
Yeah. I think the previous testimony, Commissioner Duffy, was that everyone would be carded.
Yes, in reference to alcohol being served. That's a part of TIP training.
Correct.
Yes. All right, I have no other questions.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Duffy. Commissioner Snoops, any questions?
I don't have any additional questions now.
Okay. Mr. Gardner, anything further that you would like to add before this matter goes to the board for consideration?
No, Mr. Praley, I think I've said everything that places the purpose of it, in front of the board. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we will declare the public testimony portion of this application closed, and I will turn it over to the board.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I just checking with regard to the model. Have you had any references to other models in the county that might have this, or somewhere where, you've got your volunteers and you've got a coffee shop and now you're moving into a can't say a full service restaurant, but certainly alcoholic beverages, serving those?
I don't know of any myself, Mr. Chairman. Do you, Mr. McKee?
I don't know of anything anyway.
Mr. Colts? Ms. Williamson?
No.
Yeah, okay. Because I think the idea of having additional recruits with regard to volunteer firefighting is a good idea, and we definitely need that to continue in this county. But one last question: how about a 16-year-old can go in there unaccompanied, or do they have to be with an adult?
They have to be with a member.
A member, okay. But you've got 18-year-olds that are members?
Yes, but before they can be served alcohol, everyone would be carded.
Okay.
So to get in is one thing, but to be served alcohol is something else.
Okay. Okay, I have no other questions.
Okay, well, with that, the board can open it up for discussion and deliberation.
Okay. Seeing no, I will make a motion that we grant the license to Second Alarm Brewhouse as is, and entertaining a second.
I would second the motion to approve the.
Okay, second. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor of granting the license, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Commissioner Duffy, I really don't feel comfortable with this license going from a coffee house to serving alcohol, particularly with individuals that's in there, even though they're going to be ID, once they enter the establishment to purchase alcohol, I just don't feel comfortable. Although I wanted to be on the record that I don't feel comfortable with approving this, I will go along with the other commissioner in approving it.
Okay. Well, obviously we're moving into a new chapter here and plowing new ground, so to speak. In this, the way it's set up, I think we'll have some questions maybe down the road, but I think in the meantime, it looks like you're serious about what you're trying to do, and I wish you well.
Yeah, I do, the follow-up I do applaud them for the initiative in giving back to and recruiting for volunteer firefighters. A worthy effort in doing so. I do applaud them for that. The initiative of doing that for the post of recruiting additional volunteer firefighters.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I would just convey to Commissioner Duffy that we appreciate his concern. And I know the applicants here, my clients, will take it very seriously to make sure that no one underage is served alcohol illegally. So I do appreciate your comments, and going forward, my clients will be taking that very, very seriously. So I appreciate you making those comments.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Great success.
We have 3 ayes. The motion is carried and the license is granted. Thank you.
Very well. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I apologize for the technological difficulties.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. So, are we on our own now? Eddie?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, so we're on our own. Any other comments here before we say goodbye? I'm happy the license. I'm happy the license for tomorrow didn't come up.
We are, we're still live.
Trying to get their license. They'll be there at 8 a.m. trying to get their license.
We are still live until the hearing is ended.
They what?
We're still live until the hearing has been ended.
Okay, I move that we, what do? Meeting is adjourned. Okay, so turning off, and if anybody has anything else to say.
We need an affirmative vote to adjourn on the record. I think.
Okay, on the record, those opposed? None. What happened to Bernie? She's gone.
No.
Here she is. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
Good.
Adjourned. Wayne, you had a comment.
Yeah, I just,
let's make sure we get off the record here.
Yeah, we're still on the record. I have to end the meeting.
Oh. Okay.
Otherwise, we will be still recording live. Okay, so I'm gonna shut everything down. If you guys want to call the office, we can discuss.
Okay, we got to shut it down.